Hello, Will here, and today we are in Skyrim, and we are, well, it's going to be slightly a little bit different, as to probably the title of the video suggests. So we will be looking at one mod that is out now for you to download, but we will also be looking at another mod that is a work in progress, as well as I will give you some details of two other mods that are currently all mods that I'm either basically uploaded myself or I'm currently working on. So this, yeah, it's just kind of a me episode, but it's giving you people, if you're watching, a bit of information of what's going on with my modding at the moment. Alright, but before we look at all the future mods and future stuff, we're going to look at one that you can download right now, which is The Wanderer No More, Gates of Heaven. So this is episode 3 in the Wanderer No More series, with one more episode to go, which I will be talking about later on in this video. But what Gates of Heaven does is, if we go, say for example, into Riverwood here, so if we go in here, if we look up above, we got this weird magical thing up above us. And it's like, ooh, it's a gateway. It's some weird portal looking esque thing, kind of magical thing. So what Gates of Heaven does is basically it's a bit like an increased population mod, but the population that it adds are characters that are already in the game. So for example, we've got Faendal here. But if we say we were to go over here, and just over to the big logs over here, we have another Faendal. The difference is that this is the original vanilla Faendal, whereas over here, or was over here, there is, don't it? This Faendal is one that's been added in by Gates of Heaven. So what it's going to do, it's going to add in a bunch of NPCs, with a lot of those NPCs being based off already in-game characters. So it's like, here, you got Brynjolf. But what also it does also do is that it does also add in follower versions. So there will, so I believe, I'm not 100% sure.
What do you need?
But for example, we have Faendal, who here is a follower. There will also be one or two other followers in Riverwood. Where they are at the moment, I don't know, because they're just going to be bloody anywhere and everywhere at the moment. But but it's going to add in other follower versions of in-game characters. Here we go. So we got one over here. So over here we have Sadia. Now Sadia here is a follower, but she is obviously a little bit different compared to the original Sadia. For example, she's in Archmage's clothes. So that's what it's going to do. This is basically what it's going to do. Here we go. We've got Rissard in Psijic robes. He's not a follower, but he's in Psijic robes. So it's going to add in that many characters. Now it adds in 155 NPCs, and 48 of them are followers. There are also 8 unique followers with unique names, so they're not based off in-game characters. They're actually kind of based off characters of other players. That basically, when I was asking around on my Discord, Be Very Evade Discord, Shapeless Gaming's Discord, I got some names from of people's characters that other players of Skyrim played as. And some of them have been added in via Gates of Heaven. Though their appearance will be a little bit different compared to the actual character they're based off, but obviously that's more mainly due to basically PlayStation limitations. So let's say, we got Skyrim and Riverwood. Now it's not only Riverwood that's affected. It does stay in the description what places are affected with these strange gates. It is Riverwood, Dragonsbridge, Ivarstead, Rorikstead, and all of the 9 major cities. So, you know, you got plenty of locations you can go to where you can go and have a look, find some people, bada bing, bada boom, bada bosh. And it does also state in the description where you can find the more uniquer followers. So, you know, we're going to go to a different location and we're going to have just look at one other place. Because I'm not going to go to every place because, you know, it'll be the same thing over and over. So we're going to have a look at, I don't know, say, we're going to have a look at Winterhold. Winterhold's miserable. Let's go and have a look at Winterhold, shall we? Alright, as you can see, we are now in Winterhold, and we've got another one of these gates. So if we were to look around, here we are, we've got a version of Sadia, some fine clothes, we got Elisif, who kind of look a bit like a miner. We got a Madran, we got Serana, who are you? Got Balgruff. You know, we got a bunch of random people. Now, how the NPCs spawn in is basically, effectively, completely randomized. So, for example, on my version, I have Balgruff, dressed like this, here in Winterhold. But in your version, you might not have a Balgruff in Winterhold whatsoever, and name he, you know, you might not have Balgruff in Winterhold whatsoever, no Serana, no version of Carlia, and you might have Ulfric, Tullius, and Nazim in Winterhold, for example, as well as a bunch of other people. You know, so the NPCs are completely randomized. Now the followers are not randomized, and they are specifically placed. But the generalized NPCs that it adds are completely randomized. Right, so that's all I'm going to say about Gates of Heaven, because it's a fairly simple mod. You know, the description of it tells you everything you need to know. So I'm not going to dwell on it too much more. So we're going to move on to mod number 2. But of course, as always, there will be a link in the description below to the gates, or basically Gates of Heaven, if you want to try it out for yourself, or if you want to see what kind of combinations of people you get. Because, you know, I've had some interesting results fed back to me from other players. You know, so they've had like Nazim and beggars things. They've had Balgruff as a beggar, Tullius and Ulfric as city guard, working in the same city, working together technically. This, that, and the other. You know, so you get some weird combinations. But right, that's going to be it for mod number 1. Now we're going to move on to mod number 2, which is currently not out. It's still in early stages, but one thing I have come to realise with this one is that I do currently need 2 mods installed to be able to get this thing to bloody work, which I will explain when we get to it. Alright, so it's kind of like mod number 2, but not mod number 2 because it's not actually out yet for people to play. It's still in early stages. It's not even worth me putting up as a work in progress just as yet for people to try out, because it's still very early. But so what this one is going to be is basically, when it's released, will be known as the house that time built, which in general synopsis for this mod is that basically it's going to add a player home. You know, it's going to be a nice fancy player home with some extra stuff in it. You know, this time you have a la 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 la. You know, big fancy player home. You know, who doesn't like a big house? But it's also going to be sort of like kind of like a best of, into the ways of best of my mods. On that, it's going to add in a bunch of followers, spells, weapons, armors, items, like rings and stuff like that, that have all been featured in previous mods that I've made. So for example, there will be Solar Wind from the Cult of Nidhogg added in. There will be Devastation added in. That was put in the Knights in the Claw restitution. You're going to have some NPCs, like Willow will be added in again to it, so there'll be a second Willow. Charon from Dark Moon of Elsewhere will become a follower. So it's that kind of thing. It's adding in like the best of or memorable characters from all of my previous mods will become followers, spells, or what have you, and that kind of thing. Now, what there is now, the one thing about this one is that I have had a small bit of help from Cyan49 that will allow you to be able to teleport yourself to this new area. So you actually get to learn a teleportation spell. Now, as of at the moment, I am having a bit of an issue by the fact that I can't get the mod to install and basically enabled without having the ESP file from Cyan's spell mod to basically get it work. So I need 2 mods to get this one working at the moment. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a way. But where it will start is that you will need to come to the Sleeping Giant Inn, because I am basically following Oral Corj's standard here, and basically making the Sleeping Giant Inn the key location. And you're looking for this book here, Spelltome Traverse. So we're going to take that, and then we're going to go down. We're going to go down to books. Here we are. So, Traverse the Forgotten Schism. So we're going to learn that. Then we're going to go to Magic. Now we're going to go to Conjuration. At the moment, that is this part, the Teleport to Quadsmoke, is part of the ESP that I got from Cyan49. So I'm hoping for this thing to be basically, once I've got it all figured out, bada bing bada boom, that will be removed, but you'll still be able to teleport to the new area, but you won't have that, and you won't need Cyan's the ESP that Cyan sent me also uploaded and installed to be able to actually get it to work. So it's all technical stuff on that part. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to select this, and we're just going to use it. You can use it anywhere. That's the good thing about it. You can use it anywhere. Inside the building, outside the building, on top of the mountain, bottom of the ocean. Doesn't matter where you are. Well, you can't use it at the bottom of the ocean because you can't attack. But you get the point. But right, so let's go and teleport ourselves to this new area. And here we are. Now, I know you didn't see me teleport in the video, but that's just because I wanted to basically cut that out and not record it, just in case if the game crashed, because obviously this still is in a bit of early development, so possible chance of crashes are there, so we're going to want to avoid that. But here we are. Now, you've got, you got 3 buildings. You got a little house over yonder, just over there. We got a building here, and we got obviously this big ass building here. Now, at the moment, this big ass building, even though there's a door there, at the moment we can't go in because it's not connected, because this will lead you to the main house of the mod, which is still under construction, basically. So we can't go there. But what we can do is we can go and have a little wander around the place. And obviously in some kind of weird place. Now, none of the characters or armors or weapons or over that have been added in yet, because again, early stages, bada bing bada boom. But as you can see, we've got a selection of horses. Okay, he seems to be halfway through a wall, but not to worry, that's just the game being silly. But as you can see, we've got Arqueama. Now, Arqueama was in the Dark Moon of Elsewhere mod, but I have done a slight redesign on Arqueama though. There has been a slight redesign on him. But we also have Paradism, who was in the Garden of Eden. Now, unfortunately, you can't actually ride Sheba in this version, but we have Sheba, who was in the Cult of Nidhogg Uprising. Now, all three of these horses, now, yeah, they're probably going to be a bit useless in here, but all three of these horses will be also part of part of spells where you can conjure them up in the world map, and there'll be a spell for each one of them. So then you could pick a horse that you want to use. You can learn all three, or you can just learn one, or learn none. It's entirely up to you. But first off, let's go and have a look inside the stable house, shall we? Alright, and here we are inside the stable house. Now, at the moment, followers aren't following, but that's something to do with the teleport spell, so I'm not totally sure if there's a way to work that out. I might have to ask Cyan and see if Cyan knows. But, you've got a little stable house that, you could possibly use this as a house if you wanted to. Or you can use it as a house for a follower if I can figure out a way to get followers to actually follow you here. But when I start making people and NPCs to put in here, a couple of the characters will probably be in here. There'll probably be like 1 or 2 characters in here. And, I know it'll just be all dotted around the place, basically. But here we are. So, nice little stable house. And that's just a little tiny area. Okay, well, you're out of the water. I'm gonna have to figure that situation out. Originally testing, he was inside the tank. Now he isn't. Now he's outside the tank. I have to figure you out, mate. Like, again, early stages, but what can we do? Alright, so you get yourself a nice little stable house where there'll be like 1 or 2 followers inside here. Or you can just use that as your own little tiny house if you want to. It's entirely up to you what you do. It's your freedom to choose. Alright, and here we are in the Priory Hall. Now, the only thing I'm not actually... I'm very confused.
There's a foul presence coming from Darklight Tower, southwest of the city.
I am not... Okay, I'm gonna have to look about something about the setup to this room. But for some reason I got 2 Riften guards in here. I don't know why. They weren't in here in original testing, and they've not been placed in here. They've just seemed to have appeared here for some reason. So obviously that's going to be just a little bug fix. Shouldn't be anything too difficult to sort out. Should be able to sort that one out. But this should be, but you got your own little priory. Nice little priory room for yourself. Obviously the main purpose of this is obviously because you'll have all your shrines. So you got Arcade, Bella, Junianus, Kinnereth, you got Akatosh there, Mara, Stendar, Talos, Cenobite. You got all those characters. Bada bing, bada boom. And this will be another place where you'll find a couple of the NPCs and followers who will be added in by this mod. This is where you'll find at least a few of them, like two or 3 of them maybe, kind of thing. But yeah, little priory room. But yeah, and also nice little fancy picture for yourself. Look at that. Ooh, lovely. Alright, so that's all I could primarily show off for this one at the moment with the Time House, because again, it's still kind of early in its development. There's still a bit of work to do. The main house itself is still under construction. There's still quite a bit to do for it, let alone making all the weapons and armors and followers and spells, So don't expect this one to come out at any point too bloody soon. So it's still a bit off. But there is also going to be chances of like maybe some small tweaks to the places that you've seen in this video. So its layout might change a little bit, possibly as well. There might be some little minor tweaks to things. So this is so like the Priory House here, for example, its layout and design is not set in stone, as I may make some tweaks to it. But as of that moment, I'm happy with how it looks. But right. Now, the intention as well, as of at the moment, now, you're not really be able to do it obviously from here, I don't think, because I can click on that, and you can't fast travel from inside the house. But the intention is that when you're outside in Disturb, you know, the little kind of garden area, shall we say. The intention is for you to be able to fast travel from there, from that space. So then at that point you can fast travel back out of this area to wherever you want to go. It's entirely up to you, wherever you want to go. But right, so that's going to be it for talking about this one. You get a general gist, you get to see some new areas. But yeah, of course, unfortunately, it's still a bit off. It's still a wee bit off yet, and it's still gonna probably be a few months before it's actually released. Even in a work in progress kind of state, it's still probably going to be a good couple of months before then. Right, so we're going to leave this area, and then I'm going to talk about 2 other mods that I've got in the works. But there's not going to be any kind of like preview or showing off of them, because one of them is under construction, but I'm not wanting to give too much about it away, and the other one hasn't even been started yet. But for that, I think we'll go back to Skyrim, and we'll go and sit down and have a drink somewhere, and we'll have a little chat. All right. So, now on to the final part of this video, which is I'm just going to talk about 2 other mods that I'm currently working on. But again, these 2 will also not be out for a wee while. So, the first one we could talk about is the final episode of The Wanderer No More. Which, if you are on my Discord, which also, well, we'll plug it in now because I'm shameless. If you in the description below, there will be a link to my Discord, which on there, if you're interested in finding out a bit more about the Time House, or the house that Time built, or anything about the other 2 mods that I'm about to talk about, you can keep up to date with information on there on my Discord, which again, there will be a link in the description below to my Discord. But yeah, so the final episode of The Wanderer No More, which will be episode 4, funnily enough, it's basically going to be another play. There's going to be a player home, but it's not just a player home. There is going to be much more to it, as it will be a whole new entire player space. We're not talking about player home. We're talking about that you're gonna have basically a city. It's added in a big ass city and a harbour. A big harbour and a big ass city, and the revolves around basically my character. Well, not so much specifically my character, but my character's race, which is the Tetra, which has been the kind of theme throughout the whole Wanderer No More series. Now, again, I'm only literally in the planning stages of this. Nothing has been made for it, nothing or anything like that. I am literally, all I have at the moment is some notes written down of what I want to add into this mod, and into the Wanderer No More, to the final episode, which will be known as Skaren, A City Out of Time. So yeah, so as of that moment, it's not been worked on or anything like that as of at the moment. All I've got for it at the moment to show for it is a simple note on my phone with basically names of places, what I want to put in it, and that's it. So release time, fucking miles away. Basically, it's definitely quite a bit off, but work will be starting on that one very soon. So, but obviously, it's gonna be the final episode of the Wanderer No More series, so it's gonna be a big send-off, big mod. So it's gonna take a bit of time. And the other mod that I'm going to want to talk about, or not talk about, because I'm not wanting to give too much information away either, again, if you want to find out a bit more about this mod, you can just go onto my Discord and you can find some little tidbits of information on there. There will be the one more episode. Now, I have done a trailer of it already, a little teaser trailer on my channel already, which is Where Darkness Dwells, The Hollowed Dark. Which this will be the final Where Darkness Dwells mod. There's not going to be any more after this. There's not going to be like a fourth Where Darkness Dwells. It's not going to carry on as a major long series or anything like that. It's going to end with The Hollowed Dark. Which then, hopefully, I'm going to basically create some closure for what's been happening in the previous two Where Darkness Dwells and close off the story in one big finale. But don't want to give too much other information away about Where Darkness Dwells, The Hollowed Dark. I'm keeping that one a bit more closer to my chest. Though I'm happy with on my Discord to share like little tidbits of things and some ideas that will probably be going into the mod. There has already been some screenshots of some of the enemy encounters that you'll come across in the Hollowed Dark put up on my Discord. Though you will have to scroll through it a bit to actually go find those screenshots. But you know, so you might get stuff like that, but you're not going to get any information about the story. You're not going to get any information about any really directly about any of the locations where you're going to go, or what you're going to have to do, or anything like that. That I'm keeping that all kind of fairly close to my chest. So basically, secrets. And yeah, so that is basically the other mod that is in the works. So if you're a fan of the Where Darkness Dwells series, so if you liked Where Darkness Dwells and Where Darkness Dwells Shadow Kingdom, you've got a third Where Darkness Dwells mod to look forward to further down the line. Again, release time it's not going to be for a little wee while, but at least I can say that it is being worked on. It's currently got some of the stuff already made, you know, so it's a bit more developed than the final episode of The Wanderer No More. But yeah, so that's it. So those, apart from the first mod of the video, which is already out, which is The Wanderer No More Gates of Heaven, which will be a link in the description below to that mod if you want to have a look at it yourself. But there are also the 3 other mods in the works or in the planning stages that you can look forward to being uploaded in the future, probably in the later part of the year, possibly even going into early 2023. It just depends on how often I can get to work on the mods. So you got them to look forward to. But as I've already basically said, if you want to keep up to date with any information on any of that kind of stuff, on any of the 3 mods that are currently in the works, all you need to do is go to the description below and click on the link to my Discord, where every now and then I'll share a screenshot or share a little bit of information or anything like that, a little bit detailed about one of these 3 mods in particular. Or if you want to keep yourself completely out of the dark from Where Darkness Dwells, for example, you don't want to know anything about what happens in Where Darkness that's going to appear in Where Darkness Dwells Hollow Kingdom, or anything about that mod, you want to keep it completely secret to yourself, then yeah, probably just don't join the Discord. That's the easy way to avoid it, really, isn't it? But right, so that's it. So yeah, slightly different video. You know, I wanted to do something a little bit different for this one. But right. But if you did like this video, then you know you can always obviously like the video. But you can also subscribe to the channel. You know, see what other videos I've done on Skyrim. You know, what other mod videos I've done. You know, I've very recently done one showing off player homes created by Lids. I also did another one where I did sort of like a top mods categories kind of thing. So like, what were my favorite, what were particularly my favorite ones done over the past like year or so, whilst doing this, and all that kind of fun, basic, generic. Well, I call it generic because everybody does it. So, but that kind of stuff. But you can also have, like, what other videos I've done, and we'll just generally just have a look at my channel. See if there's anything that you particularly like. You never know, you might find something that you enjoy. But right, that's enough of me waffling on here. So it's time for me to get out of here. So until next time, I'll see you all later.